Good afternoon, everyone. This is Christian with PerfectStockAlert.com, a 100% free service for smart investors and traders. All we ask in return, please refer a friend. Today is Monday, March 11th, 2013. We'll be looking at the VIX and a few of the major U.S. markets. I'm going to kind of show you guys something that's been drawn out here. When we're looking at the VIX, what we're talking about is obviously it's going to run the inverse of the S&P 500. The VIX is basically options activity that you'll see from smart money out there. Whenever they feel that the market's about to maybe hitting a peak or something like that, they'll go out and buy options on that, protect themselves from a little insurance plan right there. And then what happens, you'll see the VIX actually rally up. And then when that doesn't happen, or if it reaches its peak, the sell-off in the S&P reaches its peak, then you'll see the VIX start to reverse in the other direction. People start to get more confident in the equity market, and you'll start to see that the security or the volatility index actually drifts up to the downside as people are no longer trying to protect themselves. So when you're seeing a massive sell-off like this, you can just basically think that everybody is satisfied with the markets rallying, breaking new highs, and they're all calm and 100% complacent. That's concerning to me, and I'll show you why in a moment. But the main thing I want to draw your attention to here is this low close here. Always look at the closes. Close here, low close here, and a low close here. You can see we're just been trending down. We talked about this in the past back here when we introduced a little line here, we introduced a little line right here, saying this is a bullish divergence here, telling you that we're getting this euphoric idea in our minds that we're just going to keep rallying around to the upside. It's not going to be sustainable in the markets. You're actually going to see the VIX reverse and come back up here and fill this massive gap that it had. Well, in this situation here, we're doing the exact same thing. We're just making it that much bigger. Remember, we saw this back here, and we talked about it when it was happening, and we saw it happen again, go deeper, but again, still note that we're just bouncing off of this level here. We're not going lower here. If we'd have gone lower, it'd be confirming, but we weren't. So what we're seeing is an uptrend in the ultimate oscillator. Even now, we're still seeing that develop here, and so this is important to us. And then we're seeing also a price shooting to the downside. This is an unsustainable situation. Whenever you have that, you know it's unsustainable. You know it's a bullish divergence on the VIX, which means you're going to be looking at the U.S. markets and S&P and seeing a bearish divergence, basically telling you the entire rally to the upside is unsustainable. Overshoot to the upside will fall apart. That's very concerning. To get confirmation, all you got to do is simply go look at the ultimate oscillator on the S&P 500. You can see the high point here. You can see a lower high here, a lower high here. We're simply trending down here on the momentum to the upside. Same time period on the close, you can see a high close in this time frame, and we just continue to move higher. This is a bearish divergence telling you that this is unsustainable, and we're going to end up failing here. We know that anyway from other ways. You can look at the low points here and then lower low here. We're taking out lows. That's particular sign that's troubling to us. Also, the widening of this situation here is just not a strong signal. We're looking for this to be tested later and probably taken out. So we just see this as a very large topping pattern, not something I want to get really bullish on, especially trading up here at this level with the ultimate oscillator overbought and so forth and so on. I just would completely recommend everybody look at their charts and ask yourself, have you made money? Good, take it and get out of the way. Quick glance here at the NASDAQ, the same overall story we've been talking about. Massive gap on this most current rally here. And this is something you should keep an eye on whenever you see large gaps, and we had several smaller ones that we actually filled in this little pullback here, so we removed them. But the main thing is whenever you see large ones, massive distance between the close of one candlestick and the low of another candlestick, you look at that and you have two different perspectives you can take on that. Whenever I see them and they're at the start after a pullback like this, and then you get a massive gap, that's one thing. You can say, okay, that'll fill, but it can take time before it actually comes around to filling. We'll notice that this one is still unfilled. It's not been filled yet, so we'll let that go for now. But when you see that after it's already rallied for a while, and then you get these little gaps here that are showing pretty large size there, and that's more troubling. This is telling you that this is going to fill in shorter order. So this is something that, again, I'd be looking at and saying, there's a problem here, and I wouldn't be a buyer here. And at the same time, we can look at the high point here in the ultimate oscillator, lower high here, equal or a little bit higher, but you still you're trending down. This whole entire time period we talked about before is just a massive bubble that's forming here that's going to end up collapsing. Quick little glance here at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. The same basic overall story. High point here on the ultimate oscillator showing a strong momentum to the upside. And then you can see we're actually decreasing that. We're not getting more strength to the upside. We're actually seeing it decrease. And yet price activity in the same time period, we're actually seeing a higher close. This again, bearish divergence telling you don't trust it. Again, on this little shallow pullback here, no hammer candlestick formation telling you this is not a true bottom, and therefore what you're actually seeing is set up for a head and shoulders pattern. We talked about that in the previous video. So you can see again, you're getting downtrend line here, uptrend line here. Whenever you see that, it should be telling you get conflicting signals. You're showing higher highs like this, and lower lows like this and this. Then what you're actually seeing here is a sideways moving activity. So if you're going to be going sideways, you're going to be doing something like this, right? Here, 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 and that basically starts to form a head and shoulders pattern. We'll talk about that when we get closer into it. But basically, the main thing here is do not trust this market in any way, shape, or form. The last item I want to leave you with is a picture of the NASDAQ going back before the crash of the 08 time period. You can see during that time period we had a massive rally that was going on, and we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 massive gaps to the upside. And I was warning during this time period, this is not normal, this is not sustainable, and whenever you see that, ever since that time period, I have warned people every time we see this setup like that, where we see a massive rally, lots of gaps in the formation, that it's not sustainable, it will be erased. And if you remember this time period, even when you were making all-time highs, it didn't make a bit of difference. You were still preparing for a massive crash, and that's exactly what we're seeing now. And look at the NASDAQ in the current time period, you will find, if you actually go back like 6 months or so, you'll find you've got about 6 to 8 pretty nice sized gaps in the overall formation. And again, like I said, it's just not sustainable. If you've not been to the free website at perfectstockalert.com, it's right there. It's 100% free, and all we ask in return, please refer a friend. Also, I'll make another one of these videos, since this one has been viewed 1,000 times. The main thing I want to bring to your attention here is we have thousands of, not thousands, but several hundred videos here that you can actually go through and watch and learn anything that you don't understand in the videos that I've already made. I've got it broken down here, and so it's very good tutorials for you as well as the fundamentals. Okay, God bless, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Please take a moment to review our disclaimer. The information provided herein is our opinion only. Under no circumstances do any statements here represent a recommendation to buy or sell securities or make any kind of an investment. You are responsible for your own due diligence. To summarize, we do not provide investment advice, nor do we make any claims or promises that any information here will lead to a profit, loss, or any other result. These videos are for educational purposes only.